Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our December CGBN webinar. We have a very special session today where we're going to be talking to the global coordinators covering a few different regions throughout the world. This is a monthly webinar where we bring commercial practitioners from all over the world to talk about hot topics in real estate, allowing them to highlight their country. We have a Q&A and networking. But what we have been doing in the December months is specifically talking to our global coordinators, which Alejandro, who I'm going to introduce next, will explain what they do. But just so everyone knows, this session is recorded. So we ask that everyone who is not presenting or part of the panelists to please mute themselves and turn off your recording. The format is over the next hour and a half. So we will have presentations for the first 30 to 40 minutes, and then we'll have a Q&A. And we tried to end at the hour mark. And then if you still have time, we could network. We turn the cameras off or the recording off at that time. And you have an opportunity to not only introduce yourself, but if you have some specific need or want, we'd love to hear about it, whether it's a listing or a trade mission. And if you are participating regularly, I definitely encourage you to send us any of your trade missions or big events that you have planned, because we're happy to put that information on our CGBN page. So this, after the session is recorded, it will be on the CGBN site as well as the YouTube site. And then we will come back to with what we're going to be doing in the January month. We often have done an economic forum in terms of or what we're forecast, what we're expecting, but to be continued. So I would like to introduce Alejandro, who also goes by Alex, who we were half joking, he's global everything for NAR. Alex, if you want to tell us a little bit about what you do, and if you can also introduce what global coordinators do, or anything else that you'd like to enlighten us in the global realm, would be great. Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. Thank you so much for having me here on this panel for this quick introduction. It's always a pleasure to be here with you. I want to thank the Northern Illinois Commercial Association Network for all the global programming you always do. I know it makes us very, very happy at NAR to see that we have so many local and state boards that really engage with global. At NAR Global, as Director of Global Strategy, we do believe in global. We do believe this is a very lucrative niche of real estate that has thousands of opportunities to unlock. So I also want to thank Dimitro for his vision of bringing this panel together. We're talking about vision, we're talking about global, we're talking about opportunities. These are words that are very aligned and linked to some of the most important individuals that we work with at the national level. And those are our fellow global coordinators. I know you have a terrific selection of those on this panel. They are presidential appointed leaders that serve as the bridge between NAR Global and every single one of the countries and the regions where we have expanded our global footprint. I don't know, guys, if you know, but currently we do have over 100 different partners, what we call bilateral partners, so authorized voices of local real estate markets in over 75 markets. And like you were saying, we couldn't do this without the big help of these incredible leaders, people that are fully committed and dedicated to global real estate, and people that really help us unlock all these opportunities for our members to leverage. So with that, I want to introduce them all. I think we got David McCoy. I'm gonna go in the order that I see them on the screen. We got our incredible David McCoy, Global Coordinator to Central America and the Caribbean. David's been doing a terrific job for NAR. His region has never been more engaged than when he took over, and we're very happy to have him with us. We also have Mark Kirabayashi, our global coordinator to Asia and the Pacific. Mark's been an incredible leader, super committed at the state and local levels as well. and somebody to take into account anytime you're making any decision or you're trying to leverage the network that NAR has in Asia and the Pacific. So definitely, and this applies to everybody, make sure you leverage their presence, ask them questions, get their contact information. There's very few subject matter experts within the global field like these individuals that I'm introducing. We also have Ali Memar, who is our brand new regional coordinator. So big applause to our friend Ali Memar out of New Jersey. Ali is our brand new global coordinator to Africa and the Middle East. This is a region that has recently been split in 2024. We understand and see all the potential that these two regions bring to the table and decided to create a specific regional coordinator position for it. And I know that with Ali's expertise, we're extremely well covered there. His local connections, his local expertise within the area is going to help us succeed. So we could not be happier to have him on board. I know he's running up to speed already. He's already at 1,000 miles per hour, and we love that. And last but not least, we got Ileana Bogart as well. Ileana out of Marco Island, Florida. She's our global coordinator to South America. She's done an incredible job in bringing that region together. If you see all the activities happening in Espanol, in Spanish, a lot of that, I gotta give credit to Ileana. She's brought the region together. She's created a lot of interconnections between the partners that she oversees, and she's also a wealth of knowledge for that specific region. And with that, I don't want to jump off without thanking some of our international Realtor members who I see on the screen as well. Adeni from Nigeria, I see Mr. Barbosa from Portugal and several other. I don't have a full view of everybody, but this is very impressive. I appreciate them being here. That means they're committed to global real estate. And again, this is a testament to the fantastic global programming that NAR continues to put once again. And with that, I'm going to kick it over to you again. And thank you all so much for being here. And I hope you can really take advantage of the great speakers you have today.
Mil gracias, Alejandro. I would like to also introduce Dimitro, who, if you want to wave Dimitro, he is our new chair, and it will be between him, myself, and Ahmed that will be moderating sessions going forward the next year. You never know, depending on the session. This is a multi-association endeavor, so any association that wants to partake in planning and contributing, we encourage it. You will see on all our flyers that we demonstrate the association that are participating, as well as allow them to advertise their event on the CGBN site. And if I hadn't said so, or a reminder, please do put your contact information in the chat so that you can save that. Everyone knows who's on, and we can save it for later. I would now like to introduce Ahmed, who has been also everything, President, Global Ambassador of the Year, so many different things. And he's one of my favorite people, and he will be moderating the session, and I will be moderating him if he doesn't moderate.
Thank you, Teresa. Thank you, Alex. Yeah, so as Alex explained, the global coordinators, we have 3 of the coordinators on the panel. Alina is not there, but I'll leave it for Teresa. If you want to have Ali say something, Ali is always prepared. He's a wealth of knowledge. So my brother Ali, if you want to be on there, Teresa, it's up to you. Thank you very much. This was a short notice that we got 3 of the top global coordinators who have the experience and have been, spent a lot of time in the global arena. So we're very lucky to have them here. And looking forward to all the information coming from these folks. And I would like to thank everybody that's on here, as Alex already mentioned, our global partners and friends from all over. And Teresa, I'll leave it to you. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Ahmed. So we're going to start with Mark for him covering his region. We ask that everyone just spend about 10 minutes. I realize you could probably spend hours talking, but about 10-ish minutes. Mark, if you want to go ahead and start, and then we will have David and then Ileana. And Mark,
good morning, everybody. Let me start sharing screen and then we'll go. Hopefully you're able to see the share screen. And good morning. Good morning, everyone. My name is Mark Hirabayashi. As I was mentioned, I'm the Global Coordinator for Asia Pacific. And this morning I'm bringing you from Seattle, Washington. So a couple hours. I'm glad I'm not living in Hawaii and I have to get up at 4 in the morning to be on this call. But other than that, I'm happy to be on here. And I just want to briefly go over what our region is. And then you could always ask Q&A a little bit later. So our region is, starting from, fact about our region is over 50% of the world population lives in my region. And, you're starting, of course, from India, China to be over 1 billion, and Indonesia, Pakistan. These are 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And of course, number 3 is the United States. Then you got Bangladesh and Japan, Philippines, and there are a lot of countries that's over 100 million. And 4 out of top 5 are in Asia. So we have the biggest region by population. And also, when you look at it by the World Bank, ease of doing business is, when they rank it, number 1 is New Zealand, number 2 is Singapore, number 3 is Hong Kong, number 5 is South Korea, and number 5 is Denmark, and US is number 6. So when you look at an overall business atmosphere, it's very easy to do business. And they say that's one of the fastest economic growth. Asia to stay world's fastest growing region through 2030. This is according to Diplomat New York Times, and also. And so one of the regions, not just the culturally, but language-wise, we have the most variety different languages. So, so what does that mean is, of course, English is a common language in most of these places, and not necessarily everybody speaks English. That's very similar to other regions as well. But there's not a big common language like some of the other regions are, like such as, David or Ileana's region, where Spanish is mainly spoken. Of course, there's some Portuguese as well. But so that's one thing that you really have to know about our region. So just looking at the population, supply and demand, and there's opportunity there for even for real estate. Some fun facts about our area is, some of you know, and a lot of people know already because you're global. Indonesia is actually the largest Islam Muslim country in the world, 227 million. And number 2 is Pakistan with 204 million. And what's in the parentheses, the population of that country. So a lot of people feel that Middle East, at least new area, is the largest Muslim. Actually, it's not. Indonesia is the largest Muslim Islamic country, and Pakistan being number 2. And we have one of the world's longest commercial flights nonstop from JFK to Singapore, which is 9,500 miles, 18 hours and 40 minutes. Or number 5, meaning LA to Singapore, is 8,700 miles with, 17 hours. LAX to JFK is just, as you know, it's about 5 hours and 11 minutes, roughly, so forth. So it is a very longest flight. So these are the fun things. But, I have not yet had a privilege of being able to take our flights from Singapore to New York yet. But one of these days, that's on my bucket list. I don't know why, we as a global person, we love to be on the plane and longest, because a lot of times, on the plane is the only time that really give us a free time. But nowadays, I really don't like it, because we even have an internet in international flights now. So I cannot even get away from work anymore. Riding a plane used to be my sanctuary, where I don't have to talk to anybody. I don't have to do anything. But nowadays it's changing. I guess it's good and bad. But anyway, So when we look at it, these are the quick real estate trends in our region. And of course, China always plays the biggest role in our region right now. China is a very active in cross-border investment, and their country's strategies is there to, to make sure that their footprints in every single Asian country as much as they can. And make sure because there, of course, as you know, there's a friction between many of the countries as well. 2020 and 23, Japan, Korea, Singapore had a significant activities, especially in commercial, because during COVID, they found out there was a low COVID on infection rate in these countries. Says when you look at it, where is a safe place to invest? The COVID or world pandemic became one of the criteria for many of the commercial large investor, portfolio investors and so forth. Where is it safe? And 2023 economic slowdown in China is causing a little bit within the China. It's a little bit of a slowdown, and we'll see how that goes in 2024. And by regional gateway cities are very active, especially Singapore is becoming very active, and they're trying to become a very regional gateway for air or even for marine commercial marine base for the region as well. And of course, the political tension and uncertainty affecting the inbound business a little bit. There's a lot of friction between Japan and China, of course, North Korea. And also China, there's some friction with the Philippines, and there's some friction within the Pacific Islands as well. But Asia, a lot of the Asia, especially Southeast Asia, ASEAN nations, Association of Southeast Asian nations, they're becoming a very retirement destination. Low cost of living, and there's some special visa program, and also medical programs are very good in these countries. So a lot of the Europeans, even people from within our region, like Japan and so forth, are beginning to, at least for the most of the, and snowbirding, so to speak, when we speak about it, they go to the, some of the Southeast Asian countries. That's been the trend in our Asia as well. And when you look at U.S. inbound residential trend, just from coming to our places, this is on the residential highlights, and this is taken from a 2023 international transaction in U.S. residential real estate. And you could research that. This is available through NAR site. But just quickly, $53 billion, 51% of foreign buyers who reside in the United States. When we do inbound residential, is we look at the actual foreign person that lives in the United States, meaning green card or work visa or so forth, plus the actual foreign investor that's not residing in the United States. And average sales at 396 is right about in par with what the median prices are. And 42% pay cash and so forth. And this is on the residential side. And a couple of our residential, these are the top areas. China, Mexico, Canada, India, Colombia. If you really look at it, 2 countries from our regions are in the top 5. And top destination, of course, is Florida, California, Texas, North Carolina is very fast growing, and Arizona are the fast growing as well. As you know, Arizona is very popular for snowbirding from Canada and so forth. And of course, I don't have to tell you about commercial. You're the experts in the commercial area. NAR also has the report for global and international transaction for commercial, inbound commercial as well. So if you have never seen it, please take a look at it, so you at least kind of know where your market is. And you being global, I don't think you need that assistance as well. But when we look at it, where are the commercial opportunities? What are the commercial opportunities? So you look at it, on the commercial side of it, there are a lot of restrictions on the residential side, like any other places, or you cannot own the land, or some investments are not allowed. Like if you go to Thailand, you're not able to own a home. There are ways to do it, but you're basically able to only buy condos. So a lot of places you're not able to own the land and so forth. But there are less restrictions on commercial investment versus residential investment. And most of our practitioner does in Asia, most of practitioner does residential and commercial. It's not separated like in the United States. So many of them understand the commercial. Some of them do a large commercial thing. Some of them do even the mom and pop size places. So they do everything from property management to commercial to residential and everything else. And growing segment, I think it's part of the United States as well, is the warehouse and logistic. Commercial area is the fastest growing. As you know, everything becoming internet and global, and a lot of things get transferred. These are the fastest growing segment within the Asia country. And of course, and population growth is there. So there are a lot of commercial, other even office buildings and so forth there's opportunities there. But one thing that people don't recognize that's there is it's a niche market. So if you are doing some property management, please, a lot of the Asia company gets ODA, basically the government loans from other places, government support. But the common things I'm hearing from a lot of the country is, other than like Japan and very developed countries, you know what? They give us a lot of money, they build buildings, and they leave. We don't really know how to manage property management, especially facility management is not there. How the building could last for 10, 15, 20 years or 30 years. So building starts deteriorating from the day one. So that's one thing that they look at, and there's some opportunity that's there. And these are the country with a bilateral partner agreement that Alex mentioned a little bit. These are the partners. So in the parentheses are how many association we're partnered with right now currently. And with that, and there's some opportunities. So whenever you want to get hold of course, you have your own network of CCIM or IREM or whatever it might be, but certainly please reach out to us. And these are our global coordinators, global ambassadors within our region. So please reach out to any of them or reach out to me so I could basically connect with you, and they could connect you with the association that they're doing. They always welcome a visit, personal visit to trade missions and etc. as well. And these are our current ambassador association. Ambassador association is a program that's here, and Stephanie that's here, and she's in charge of from NAR, Stephanie Aker. And these are the places, and there are some couple association, place is open right now that has no assignment to it. So that's might be opportunity if you're a part of some of the local or state board as well. So with that said, that's about all I'm going to cover today. But a couple of things that I want to mention to you is there are some opportunity that we know of right now. NAR India, that's our partner association. Don't ask me how they got the name NAR. There's a long story, but NAR India has their convention coming up in end of February. It's 29th and 1st and 2nd are the NAR India convention in Goa. It is one of the most popular city in India, basically a lot of resort destination type Goa, and that's opportunities there for you to visit. And also Asia Pacific, some of you attended in the past. We have a program called IREC, which is International Real Estate Conference. That's where all the NAR's bilateral partner in Asia Pacific gets together for a convention. And last one we had was in 2019 before COVID. But we are restarting that in 2024. That'll be in early September, and it will be in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. And more information to come. But if you are interested, that's where you'll be able to meet with all the practitioners throughout the Asia in one location if you're very interested in Asia Pacific as well. With that said, thank you very much. Feel free to reach out to me anytime. Ahmad or Teresa or Alex knows my contact information, but you can always look me up, and you put my name in Google. Usually my name comes up first on the Google. So hopefully just give you a little bit of a glimpse of how the Asia is. And thank you very much for your time and opportunity for you to present.
Thank you very
Teresa
much,
and Ahmad.
Mark. That was super informative. And if you can, it would be great if you could send those slides to either myself or Amy in case anyone would like them. And we're also happy to advertise any of those missions, et cetera, on our CGBN page. I could introduce David next, and he can cover his region, and he likes to just wing it, so he might not have fancy slides, but he has fancy talk. So I look forward to hearing what you have to say, David. You're on mute still, David.
Maybe. Thank you very much, Teresa. It's a pleasure to be here with everybody today. I have a reputation of going way over my time, so I am going to try to go very quickly. I hope you will excuse me, and maybe we can come back if we have more time to talk about specifics. I'm David McCoy, Global Coordinator for North America, Central America, and the Caribbean. I have been a volunteer with NAR, I believe, 10 years now. This is going on my 4th year as Global Coordinator. So a little bit about our region. We have 14 countries, basically speak 2 languages. There are a few kind of unusual languages there, but overall the region largely speaks English and Spanish. I have 4 global coordinators who work with me in this group. And so we have about 200 million people in our region, and there's a lot going on there. We have some of the superstars in our region. These are areas where U.S. residents say that they are most interested, and that would be Mexico is number 1, and Costa Rica and the Dominican Republic are also up there, and Panama. These are all areas that do a lot. Also, honorable mention, Jamaica is our biggest partner in this region. They are a superstar in terms of real estate, and there are lots of people there that you can work with. So I'm going to just kind of mention some things sort of globally that affect really the whole world, but our region as well. And I think that one of the things that's going on globally is we're in a big global transition, I would say. And I would say that I think that as I've thought this through, the more and more I think about it in terms of security. Countries all over the world are finding that it is very important for them to have energy security, for them to have food security, safety, water, all kinds of things like this are coming into play. And another thing that's a big trend that is happening, which we don't talk a lot about, is population collapse. You know, we talk or we have traditionally talked a lot about overpopulation, but the truth of the matter is there's pretty good reason to believe we're at the top population ever right now, and that the population is going to be declining over future decades. And while that may sound good, it's going to create pain for a lot of areas. When we look at Europe, a lot of Europe, the people, they will not be able to replenish their populations. And so with that, that's one of the things I think that's causing the international immigration crises that we're seeing is people are finding, you know, it's happening very rapidly. And so in a way, that's one of the reasons I think that there's so much kind of turmoil involved with this is they need new workers, younger workers, to be able to keep their economies going and to continue to have the economic well-being. So that is one of the things I think that's happening, you know, kind of worldwide. China, you know, in the world, when we're looking at the world economy, we have to look at the big players. Of course, the U.S. is the largest economy. China is number 2. China has had a very rough year, or a very rough few years ever since COVID. Things are not going well in their economy. And so when things are not going well, you know, when we talk about these things kind of dispassionately, it doesn't seem like a big deal. But if you think about it, if people can't have energy, if they're going to be, you know, facing cold or heat, or if they're going to be facing lack of food, or they're going to be facing lack of water, they're going to react to that. And that means that we're probably looking at, I'm going to call it unrest. I think that this is at least a factor in some of the ongoing wars in the world. I think that we're going to see probably more of this kind of trouble between regions as regions are trying to take care of themselves, and they're trying to find the resources they need to be able to work. China is, I think, especially there's a lot of concern right now because China has been having a lot of time, and so when people start having difficult times, they're a little bit harder to predict. I think there's been a lot of concern for some time. I mean, I see things all the time about China is preparing to go to war with the U.S. I cannot imagine that that's going to happen, but those are the things people are talking about. So we can't ignore them to pretend they're not happening. I don't think the U.S. and China are going to go to war anytime soon or anything like that, but it is an indicator of the kind of unrest that we're seeing. When we kind of we mentioned the population in especially Europe. Another one of the big things with Europe is energy security. When Russia and the Russian-Ukraine war, Russia was their primary energy provider, and they have had to scramble. Luckily, last year, they had a very warm winter, and so it was not that big a deal. This year, we're hoping for another warmer than usual winter, although they've had a year to prepare. So Europe will be better prepared. But the fact of the matter is that if Europe is able to secure their energy needs, it may be at the expense of other countries in the rest of the world. Same thing with food. They may be able to secure their food, but that could be at the expense of other areas in the world. So those are things that I think are very big deals for us right now. Let me move a little bit kind of to my region in particular and what this has to do with. Another one of the things that happened, and this was happening anyway, but it got accelerated with COVID. The U.S. found that it was very susceptible to having our supply lines spread all across the globe. And I think that we were already beginning to react to that, but that has really accelerated the fact that we have been trying to bring more and more of that production either back onshoring or close shoring in our area so that we have better control over that and better ability to prevent disruptions in those supply chains. I think one thing in particular that specifically was alarming to people is that we realized that we had very crucial industries that we were very dependent on. And, one thing in particular was like the drugs, something like more than 90% of U.S. drugs are produced in China. And we realized that if China decided to just quit providing drugs to us, we had nothing to go back on. So that was one of the things. It's like, especially with our critical industries, it's like we need to have better control of that. We need to bring those back. Now, my region, I think, is benefiting overall from these trends. As they come closer, Mexico has developed a lot. A lot of people think of Mexico as a third world country. Mexico is not a third world country. Mexico has really benefited from, and they do a lot of manufacturing now. They have a lot of industry that they have brought in because of this. It's also moving through the rest of Central America and even into South America and the Caribbean. We're pulling more and more of our economy in these areas. Those are all very positive signs. And I guess I know I'm speaking quickly and I'm kind of going, hitting things as I think of them, but some other important things to think about in our region. Canada is technically part of my region, although the way we deal with them is a little different. There's lots of things going on in Canada, but one very significant thing globally is Canada is presently in a ban from foreigners buying real estate in Canada. So that's one thing that we have to always know when we're working with global clients and all those things. There are very tight restrictions on foreigners buying land in Canada right now. In our region, some other big factors that are going on right now. Mark mentioned retirement. We have the biggest, we're in the biggest stage of baby boomers retiring in the U.S. And a lot of these people are looking for places to retire. And in the last international report that NAR did, we had 16% of US adults say that they would seriously consider moving abroad. And a lot of those people are retirees. So that's the highest it has been in a while. That's typically 8 to 10%, but we had 16% in our last survey. And these guys, some of the main places they want to go, again, I mentioned this before, Mexico, Costa Rica, Dominican Republic. So we have a lot of people in our region. So we have the retirement. We're also a lot of the economies with the economic situation in the world. Some of the economies in my region are trying things. Some of them are re-pegging their currencies to the US dollar. They feel like that's a safer economic bet for them. Also, some places are trying Bitcoin. El Salvador made Bitcoin an official currency a few years ago, and there are people that are interested in that. They like the idea that they have control over the value rather than a foreign government. So we have, trying to see what other things I may have left off here. There's this coming year, I think that a lot of us probably would say that, and I'm seeing this all over, you all may or may not agree with me, but I think the US right now, it looks like we are in a pretty significant economic downturn. There seems to have been this I don't think we're officially in a recession yet, but I see people all the time, especially realtors, talking about how slow things are and how things are going. We have low gas prices right now. I got gas for under $3 a gallon for the first time in 4 years last week. And there's no reason for gas prices to be down other than economic downturn, because there's been tremendous pressure. You know, the Russian oil is off the market. There's a war in the Middle East. The Middle East has cut back production. There's all kinds of reasons for the energy prices to be higher, and yet they're lower. And so I think that shows us that we're going to have next year. There's also going to be, however, on the other side of that, tremendous political pressure on the Fed and on our government institutions to try to have a better economy because of the election year. So there's a lot of things going on. I think we're going to have kind of a bumpy sort of roller coaster kind of ride for the next couple of years. Long term, I feel very optimistic. I'm very bullish on our region. But it may be kind of rough for a little while. So I think I've run over my 10 minutes. So I know I went through that really crazy, but if we have time afterwards and we have a few questions, I'd be glad to talk more about some of this stuff. And I'm sorry that I just kind of rushed through that so quickly.
That's great. Thank you, David. And to your point, it's why we are global, is right, because everyone's constantly moving around with the changing world we have, whether it be work or social. Some of you know that my son is in college in Finland, and he loves the social structure there and is probably going to live there or Europe for the rest of his life. So we're having to adapt to this global migration. Thank you very much, David. I would like to next present Ileana, and she can cover her region. She has been doing an amazing job in presenting and highlighting all the countries throughout South America. She could tell you a little bit more about those series as part of her highlight. All you, Ileana. Thank you.
Hi, thank you, Teresa. Thanks for the invitation. I'm glad to be here. And thanks to everybody. Hopefully, everybody's getting ready for a nice holiday. I'm going to start my presentation and start to be on time. I don't know, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, good. So, well, as you can say, everybody knows I'm the global, and Alex mentioned, I'm the global coordinator for South America. And we have 9 countries under our region, but some of them are bigger than others. So we have one of the biggest, which is Brazil. And these are the associations that that our partners, our bilateral partners, in the countries that we are, mostly Argentina, Brazil. We have 2 partners in Brazil. Bolivia is a new partner that we signed an agreement on last year in August. Chile, we have 2 partners, Colombia 1, Ecuador 1, Paraguay, Peru, and Uruguay. And great people, professionals, and working in great persons to connect to actually start your global business in these countries. Okay, where is this? This is our global team. Now we're adding a new member for Gonzalo Mejia is going to be joining as a global ambassador for Argentina, Paraguay, and Uruguay. Karen Arbeláez is from Colombia, Chile, and Brazil. And Betty Arguello is from Bolivia, Ecuador, and Peru. We've been working really hard to develop the programs that we have in these countries. But I'm just going to put my timer because obviously we have only 10 minutes, but we're going to give you the overview for the South America. So you know all the challenges that we face in Latin America, which is and mostly on the 2022 and 23. We actually, all these countries went to presidential elections, which actually they created a bigger impact in the economy, and also uncertainties in the certain countries. And Argentina, I was just recently over there, and they just elected a new president. So hopefully they have high hopes. And Chile also has a new president, a younger. Most of the presidents in the region are younger, so it's good. The only president which was reelected and came back, and to the surprise of many, was the President Lula da Silva in Brazil, which actually replaced President Bolsonaro. And Bolsonaro did some comments that actually affected the relationship with China, and also deflected some big investments from to China, and possibly is going to be relocated to which is the pharmaceutical company to manufacture those vaccines for COVID. So now those comments reflected into some disagreements, and that facility most likely will be moving to, they're looking to Chile. Amazon has actually, if you're talking about industrial or commercial opportunities, also great opportunities for Brazil. And Amazon has actually did a warehouse facility in Brazil to actually service all that market. Same as they just did something in Mexico, a warehouse for all the distribution for that part of the region, the country, for the Central America, Mexico and Central America, and Brazil will be serving all the South American region. Paraguay and Argentina, and has reported, and they report a lot of investment coming from Europe, besides of neighboring countries. And you will see some of them actually, as I mentioned to you in a conversation yesterday, we were coming from Germany, from Paraguay, and Argentina, and the border between Paraguay and Argentina. They're coming from Ukraine, they're coming from the Netherlands, they're coming from Russia. And some of the things that David, and also in Bolivia, and we'll see it, Bolivia is a country that has a lot of land to offer and a lot of opportunities to develop. The only situation is just you have to be check everything, all the incentives, all the fiscal benefits that you can get, and how easy it will get to get your money out, bring it in and bring it out and take it out. But there's a lot of opportunities also in Bolivia. But they are reporting many people from Europe, many baby boomers or people relocating to these areas, which include Bolivia, Paraguay, Argentina. And Brazil has a big population, and the south come from Germany. Anyway, but in these areas, Chile is going through a slowdown in residential sales. And I was there a couple of weeks ago, and also they have a high vacancy for commercial offices. So if you're looking in Chile, you can gonna see in a couple slides coming up, as it has a lot of there's a lot of multinational companies. With the political situation happening a couple years back, and plus the COVID, we added that the situation for the COVID, the pandemic, it actually is the real estate slowed down. But it has a lot of opportunity for multinational companies, are very well connected, and connectivity is very well, and infrastructure is very well in in Chile. But like you can see, the real estate remains an important indicator in these countries' GDP. And as you can see, the residential real estate market for the South America is estimated at $441 billion and is expected to go up to $600 billion. So good opportunities for your investors to look and research on these markets. Another benefit also will be the exchange rate to a US dollar, and I have put it here. So you can actually, if you're going to Argentina, also you have to be cautious, careful, because it's something what it is, the current rate if you go, and also what is they calling the blue dollar. So it's something that it goes under the market, and also when you're using your credit cards and everything. So you have to be careful. But overall, it's opportunities wherever to invest in South America, because your dollar, you can stretch your money, and also you can get some benefits from it. One of the currencies that are very, very stable, and I was told I learned, which is the country that I'm going to direct mostly, a couple countries from the nine that I have in my region, it will be Paraguay, because they have great incentives, fiscal incentive, and to attract investors and companies, multinational companies, to move and relocate to that, as well for the baby boomers, for expats moving, for relocating to these countries. Also, another country that is very stable is Uruguay, and it has a good quality of life, but compared to the other countries in the region, cost-wise will be a little higher. Language spoken in the area is Spanish and Portuguese. Portuguese mainly in Brazil, but on the other countries is Spanish. Total population is 441 million for the South America. In Brazil, accounts for over 211 million population. 214 million. The population will be at 214. And then, it's Brazil. All right, this is some of the countries. I was going to do a summary, but mainly we're going to, if you can identify those flags, will be great. That will be a quiz. So you put it in there in the chat. But Colombia, one of the countries that it is very friendly for, and people like it, and going for baby boomers, for retirees, will be Colombia. They have, there's no limits for actually, or restrictions to actually buy land or to buy, residential real estate. Their local opportunities are quite similar than for local buyers. Foreigners, you can own land, like as I mentioned it's the process is not complicated. We have really good professionals, and I put this, the association, our partners is Fede Lonjas, and you actually does not require a visa to actually buy a property in Colombia. But if you would like to migrate and stay there, there's two types of different visas that you can obtain. The migrant visa, and which is an investment of about $100,000, and the resident visa will be about $185,000. And I will recommend some of the areas that most people will know. Bogota, they know Medellin, they might know Cartagena. But here is the process of owning, the process of the real estate transaction that you will actually be, if you're investing, or for your investors, to make them familiar with, and all the implications to invest in Colombia. But just like Mark says, just like David mentioned it, always count on the people that we already are They're being certified. They're international realtors. We have designees over there, ABR, SRS, accredited buyer representatives, seller representatives in these countries, in the region, and also CIPS. I just came back and we were teaching the CIPS course in Bolivia in collaboration with Peru and some countries. The Nicaragua also participated, and the Dominican Republic. So they are very professionals committed to the industry and their careers. So they're there to help you and your investors invest in their countries. So this is one of the regions that I will say that in 5 years, I'm seeing that this is going to be the new Medellin, because it's so beautiful. It's in the coffee region of Colombia. And right now, there are new routes from American Airlines, direct flights from Miami and direct flight from New York. And that tells you that there's something going out, and there's something that obviously this area is going to grow. There's a lot of opportunities to buy this beautiful farm land, or you can buy a commercial. It's growing. When you visit, it is amazing. That's what I said. In 5 years, there's going to be a very nice, modern, and it's already kind of modern, and the lifestyle, the service, customer service is very good. So for your money, for retirees, I was actually coming back from a conference, and I seen these people from the U.S. Virgin Islands visiting. They were hiking in the mountains, and there are people who actually living there, buying these fincas and converting to boutique hotels and things like that. That is an opportunity. Restaurants, photo studios. So that is a region that I would say Santander, a nice one, in the coffee region, Operata. Barranquilla, lots of opportunities. You're only an hour away from Cartagena, in which a fraction of the price, and you're closer to the water as well. So those will be the ones that I will say, Barranquilla and Cali. So those are areas that are not well known as other ones, like I mentioned, Bogota, Medellin, and Cartagena, but you can get a lot for your money in there. Paraguay, like I mentioned, in Paraguay, our partner is Capelli, have shown a strong preference in commercial real estate. They're growing and very fast, and they have a lot of opportunities on the residential side, on the commercial side, on the industrial side, on the warehousing. So it is a very good opportunity to get yourself familiar. And to visit this country, we're putting the program together for 2024. We hope maybe we can get you trade missions in there. Well, they have a great, like I mentioned, they have a great investment in infrastructure. This is a little bit of where are located. If you are not familiar, they're right in the middle. They don't have access to water, same as Bolivia. But but they are actually, those are the ranking in exportation. There's a very young population. So that tells you that residential commercial is always going to be, it's going to be for the next year going to grow, and they're continue to grow, and there's opportunities for developers to serve the markets. These are the indicators for the economy, what it represents, the PIB. So you can take a look. They're, like I mentioned, their currency is very stable, and they have good universities, they have good schools, they have good health system there. So they're very welcome, and they're friendly to retirees, to baby boomers. And like I said, you will see they're very towards sustainability, and their cost of living is ranked top number one compared to other. Like I mentioned, that Uruguay being the highest or the most costly, but the cost of living and the quality of life is ranked as a good ranking. And you can see how it was before 2008, and this is a more recent photo where they have not only residential single-family homes, but also you're seeing more and more buildings, condo living. And as you can see, their fiscal incentive is very good. So it's 10 for everything in compared to other countries like Brazil. It varies income tax or, or a value added tax. So in Paraguay, everything is 10%. And these are the countries that you can see. They're coming from the UK, from Spain, from Germany, from Ukraine, from the Netherlands, from Russia. So this is a very country that I will say that will be a very good opportunity to visit and get to be more knowledgeable and to actually start referring customers in there. If you're working with these countries, we have very good professionals there. There's like 3 different types of visas available. And this is only a photo of one of the developments that they have, golf course. And they don't have access to the water. They're building these beautiful lagoon lakes. So actually you can enjoy some of those amenities. Chile is another incredible, maybe one of the countries, stable countries in the region, South America. But obviously, because of recent political situations and the previous president, now they are just elected a new president, which is also young. And right now they're going through a referendum to amend their constitution, which is very we heard for this, but their citizens, the population is confident that they actually will come to terms and an agreement, and actually they will start moving forward for after and recuperating after the pandemic, and also after all this political unrest that they're been having. And there's a larger country, as you can see, and instead of wide, it's a very long, and they have beautiful ecosystem biodiversity. They have a U.S. treaty agreement with the U.S., so that actually helps for investors. If you want to move, relocate, there's a lot of incentive for them to move to the country. Connectivity also very good. You can fly from within the country, like in less than an hour, depending where you go, and all the way to the south, to the north. They have amazing places to visit. They have opportunity for, like I said, for commercial, for residential, and the prices, the quality of life, is the gastronomy, the history, culturally is a very, very good country. And then you can see all the connectivities. You can fly to anywhere, and they have a brand new state-of-the-art airport. Okay, the highways, incredible. It's just kind of like a very modern. You will not. I was just flying from one country. I went from Bolivia, then I even from Panama. I was in September, and then I was in Argentina, and you can see the infrastructure not as good as it is going to be in this country. You feel like you're driving in the highways, and you think that you're driving and just like on a highway in Europe. Very good, very modern. You can see they are very modern. They're I will say, in between more European than Americans, but there's also the American culture. U.S. have a lot of influence in their country as well. The way how they do business, their banking system is very good, and transportation very good, roads very good, hotels and facilities, customer service, quality, hospitals, healthcare system extremely good. And this is some of the places. If you can go to the south of Chile and cross to Bariloche to Argentina through the Andes, is a really, really nice trip for you to take. This is some of the things in Chile that you can have. Most of these countries, they don't have an MLS. They're working on MLS. They're looking to upload and showcase their properties. And they have, in this case, what we're going here about the MLS by representation, or where we're going And in some of the countries in South America, they're used to have in each side their own agent representing the transaction. So it's very good that if you're engaging with this and you're trying to promote these countries an opportunity, whether it's residential or commercial, that you make yourself familiar of the real estate transaction in these countries. Also, how they calculate their dollar exchange or the prices. They're not going to give you, and you're not going to see the price listed at that much, right? They have a currency or a system that they use, and they call it the UFA, the UF, right? So they have to use that the daily to convert that to get the exchange rate of the day. So it's kind of tricky. Same as in Argentina, they have the dollar blue. Argentinian pesos and the market, what it goes in the market. So you have to be careful how to navigate in there. So these are I think I'm almost, this is the explanation of what it is, the UF. And this is only like a couple of photos of what you can find on the luxury market, you have, what is very common right now is the apart hotels. So it is very good. Can actually, they have a lot, since they have a lot of universities, a lot of people moving over there. So it's kind of like to study and as an expat living there. So they're actually becoming a very, very common to have these instead of those Airbnbs, because of the limitations that they have. They're building more apart of hotels. So opportunities in South America. Brazil also have the RNE visa, which is actually attracting investors to move in the country. And especially you have to an investment about $200,000 in the urban areas, we say Sao Paulo, which is right now with the exchange rate, you will get a very nice condo there, or about $90,000 on the northeast, which is the beautiful on the coast on the northeast, Natal, Fortaleza, Bahia, all that areas that you can get a very a beachfront property for a fraction of you can get, especially here in Florida. So this is an overall, we have like I said, we have a lot of things going on. We have our educational series. We train, we help them develop with how they can use their international realtor member or the designation to connect with you, to expand their business opportunities, and for you to connect with them and start doing referrals. And I think, Teresa, Ahmed, thank you for the opportunity. With it, I conclude my presentation.
Thank you very much, Eliana. This has been a very informative session, and I know we're over the time, but I do want to allow participants to have the opportunity to ask questions. So we may not get to do the typical networking. I definitely encourage you to put your contact information and needs and wants in the chat. If you have any particular listings, trade missions, etc., please do put that in the chat and include your contact information. Raise your hand. You could see there's reactions and raise your hand if you have a question. You have to use the icons, Ahmed. Look at the bottom. I'm giving you the business. But I do have a couple questions for the presenters while we wait for additional questions. The very first, I have two questions. And if you guys can each, spend 30 to 45 seconds answering each these questions. One, why you are participating on this global platform. You're regularly showing up, giving these presentations, giving this information for us, which is invaluable, especially in commercial real estate. So why you participate in the global marketplace on a regular basis? And two, what you think the biggest risk is to us as commercial real estate practitioners. So I'm going to start with you, David, and then Mark, then Ileana. Go.
I do it mainly because I've just always loved languages and cultures. I just love that people. I mean, those are kind of the people I hang out with, and I've just always been attracted to that. And that's initially how I got, attracted to NAR and their global program. And to be honest, I never dreamed I would be a global coordinator. I mean, it just kind of happened, really. I mean, I was just sort of lucky. But I love this, and I love working with people. There's some of the most fascinating people in the world. And the greatest risk for commercial practitioners, I would say that, I think that kind of going back to some of the stuff I was saying earlier, you know, we are in a real transition globally, and I think that there's going to be a lot of things changing rapidly. I do think that the United States will be a net beneficiary of these changes, actually, but worldwide there's going to be some real changes. I mean, right now, you know, a very big deal right now is whether or not Europe has a bad winter. If Europe has a bad winter, that can affect the entire globe because of problems with energy. And last year, and I believe this year too, Germany is having to make a decision between shutting down factories and heating homes for people. So that's a really big deal. And I think that it's going to take a while until we all kind of come to grips with that. And I'll stop there.
Thank you. We'll ask Mark next. I will probably also point to Ali and Yoshi for a couple words of wisdom when they're done, and then take questions.
Sure. First of all, I just always been a global. My previous job always has to do with global. I was a corporate travel agent and also import export. So my arena always been in a global. That's one of the reasons, and that's one of the things I gravitated towards within the realtors organization. Even though I have done many leadership roles outside of the global, within the state president to regional vice president, everything else, but global still, that's where my passion is. And I think the one thing that in Asia that you have to watch is overall, and not of the our same region as well, that in CIPS term we do, it's a high context countries, most of them. What does that mean is a relationship is important. So it's not a low context like US is. So, and most of you know, you gotta create the relationship and you gotta have the right relationship in order to be successful in Asia. You just can't go there and bully our ways in, or just having the money might not be good enough. So that things that you have to, it takes time. Be patient. That'll be my suggestion for especially in Asia Pacific, outside of New Zealand, Australia. They're a little bit like us, but you know, rest of the Asia is a little bit more high context, so it takes time. So just be patient. So that'll be my thanks. Thank you.
And I do want to give an applause for the CIPS course, which many people who've showed up to this webinar, and you know, many of our peers have had the CIPS course. It was there that it really helped with some of these, like you said, high culture negotiations. So, and right now I have a client, a Korean client, and I had to address things differently with him in the negotiating style to help facilitate this transaction. So that I know that we're going to have, you know, some commentary on the CIPS. I do want to applaud for some of the things that they teach in there in terms of the difference in culture.
And I think you got to remember that CIPS class, you know, and things that you understand about culture does help you in your business locally, because you have many, you know, multiple clients that's coming from different parts of the world. Not necessarily that you have to go out and go sell something outside of US, but it helps every practitioner, commercial or residential, to understand it.
Eliana, do you want to comment on what you, in terms of your global practice and why you think it's important and or risk to practitioners?
Well, yes. So I kind of like same as Mark. I'm coming from a background of international business development. So I kind of like be doing business before and traveling to Latin America and Dubai back in the 90s, and in Europe. But one of the things I really like, and I see the potential of connecting people and helping people develop their business, and all the opportunities that we have, and only the CIPS is knowing how to use and implement. It could be the CIPS, the ABR, but NAR is one of the reasons and why they're so committed, and we love these roles that we have, and we are passionate because we can tell people, hey, you can connect with others. It's easy. You're a member. You're a realtor. You're a member of NAR, so you can have all these connections. So it is interesting when you go and visit and do presentation and travel with these countries and listen to their needs and what they want to do and how they want to do it. And we have everything. So we are a bridge of, building that connection for them to help them. And not only while helping the real estate, the professional, but also where as we saw in these presentations and what we talk, the real estate is an important indicator for the economy of each country. So if we help and we promote the countries and that we can make them aware that this is an opportunity, we're helping not only the real estate professional, the industry, but the country overall. So I think we get, that's why we're very committed and we're very passionate about this. So it is a pleasure for me to be part of this global team, and collaborate with everybody and all the global CIPSs and international members and the US based and global members. It is a pleasure to see every time. It's just like a big family. So I love it, and we're committed on this, and we're here for that. And obviously all the global ambassadors are here for it to help everybody.
Thank you. And I did ask Yoshi to come on and also include his comments, especially in his new role. If you want to unmute yourself, Yoshi.
Hi. Hello, everyone. My name is Yoshi, the global ambassador to Cambodia, Indonesia, and Vietnam. As Mark said, we are like high context countries, so building a relationship is very important key, and I'm still working on. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yoshi, you forgot
Yes.
to mention your new position with NAR.
Yes, they are just appointed to be on global liaison for NAR 2024. Yeah,
Congratulations.
Thank
Well
you. Thank you
deserved.
for your support.
Well
Very,
deserved.
very well deserved. Ahmed, did you want to say something?
Yes,
before going to
yes.
Ali?
So, so we've had 3 regions covered by 3 folks who have incredible knowledge. This is just, and I mean, I can spend the whole day with each region. But one of the things I would like to mention to our participant, to the audience here, when you register, there's this bio of each of our presenters, and that's very impressive. Go and read it. But one of the questions I keep on getting asked, and I've been in this, as like most of them, I was in the global field before I got into real estate, but over 30 years I've been in this with the NAR. And I always mention when people say to me, how do I get involved? My local association does not have a global. My state doesn't have a global. And I point to David McCoy. He made his way all the way to the top without having a local or a state global. So, there's another story to be told. But let me not take too much more time. We are looking forward to doing the next series later in the year, which will be covering Middle East, Africa, Eastern Europe, and Western Europe. But one of the new kids on the block, with not a new kid any longer, I mean, he's been around a long time. Ali Reza, tell us a little bit and what you've been doing, and so a quick 1 minute. I know you got to go to another event.
Yes, actually, thank you for introducing me as a new kid on the block. I just turned 66 last week, so I've been involved with global. I started a little over 15 years ago. About 11 years ago, I started our local chapter of Global Business Council, my board, and immediately next year we got a gold award, then 5 platinums, and right after that, our diamond and the second diamond. But I work in New York, New Jersey. We deal with over 150 different cultures and backgrounds and religion and languages. So I'm a CRPS instructor. I travel around the world and I love what I do. Just came back from Saudi via Paris, attended 2 different conferences last 2 weeks right after Anaheim. And I have a lot of good news next time that I get more time to speak about Saudi. We're looking for a new partnership, and we're doing a CIPS course in Abu Dhabi in February 5th, 19 to 24. And right after that, we're going to have a trade mission to Abu Dhabi. So I will send forward everything once I have the detail. But for now,
Ali, we would definitely love to advertise that on the CGBN page.
Yes,
You've been super great, and also bringing us a presenter from Turkey, which was, if anyone wasn't able to attend, that is on the CGBN page as well as the NAR YouTube channel.
thank you for the time. I'm not going to take more of your time. I know we'll be behind for 90 minutes, and we'll talk next time.
That's all right. We were asking everyone to put all their information on the chat, and we can share that with everyone. I see we have a question, Mr. Tanubu. If you could put yourself on camera and unmute yourself, we would love to hear what you would like to ask.
Hello.
Hello, we can hear you.
Yeah, good afternoon, people on other side, and good morning, people in the United States. So my questions goes to Ishira and Levon. Please, how is it possible for us to get the slides of the presentation so that we can be able to have an experience and have more knowledge compared to we that we're in Africa? So I will appreciate if the presentation slide can be sent to individual email to enable us to have more lines on what they have done on the topic they presented to us.
So what is the question? I'm sorry.
I'm requesting for the slide of Elena.
Oh, do you know, I think she has to go. She has a final walkthrough. So we actually have day jobs that we have to go to. So she might not be on anymore.
Yeah.
I think she said that she could provide her slides, though, which I think is.
And so
Thank you.
I know Mark has already sent me the slides. Oh, there she is. Magic.
I'm about to leave, but if you so I'm about to leave, but tell me, how you doing? It was nice seeing you in Anaheim. What is the question?
Yeah, I'm not asking a question. I'm just requesting for you to send me your presentation slide.
So they'll send the slides to us, and anyone who sends us a note, we're happy to provide it.
I'll be happy to.
Exactly. To do that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any questions before we end this session? Or I will end the recording and I'll give everyone a quick 30 seconds. Here's my name. Here's where I'm from. Go to this page or do whatever. So Ahmed, is there anything else you want to say before we?
No. Go ahead. Do the intros with the folks there. That's Bill.
Okay, we're going to end the recording.
Can I ask a quick question?
Quick question, yeah.
Yeah, David McCoy talked about a population collapse, which is very curious to me. I know that birth rates are down here in the United States. I'm just wondering what you see coming, because NAR certainly doesn't address it. They continue to talk about we have this housing shortage, inventory shortage, which we currently do, but birth rates are declining. If it weren't for immigration, whether legal or illegal, we would be losing population. And we do have baby boomers that are getting much older and will start dying off in greater numbers. And I'm wondering at what point you're expecting that, we're going to have a surplus in housing, or prices are going to start to fall because we no longer have the demand.
Good question.
I'd say that there's a few factors there. One, although the world as a whole seems to have peaked in population, the U.S. population is projected to be relatively stable for several decades. And part of that, as you mentioned, is because of immigration. The U.S. has been good about immigration for some time. We kind of together will probably be relying more and more on our North American partners, including Mexico and Central America, as kind of stabilizing the population overall. So I think that the population growth will moderate and possibly decline, but it'll be much slower in the U.S. and the rest of the world. China, by contrast, it appears that China's population actually peaked maybe as much as 10 years ago. And they, for the first time this year, reported officially a decline in their population. And their population could, in a matter of a few decades, it could possibly, and this is worst case scenario, but it could go to half of what it is right now. So we're going to see these trends all over the world. In Europe, Western Europe, especially the most developed countries, are the ones with the biggest problems of age distribution. I hope that answered your question.
Thank you, David. Bill, did you have a question?
Yes, one quick question for Mark. I know that EB5 was a very big program for the Asian population, and I was wondering if that is still true, or where the trends are going with EB5 programs here in investing in the United States.
I think the EB5 program is still in play. But definitely one thing is there has been a lot of fraud EB5 program that happened. So the people from my regions are a lot more careful about putting money into EB5 program, because I know that there are a lot of countries or a lot of people from different countries in our region that did not successfully complete it, even though they paid up money, because it was not true EB5 program. But it is definitely it is a viable source for them to immigrate or to get some type of permanent residency in the United States. Yes.
Thank you very much, because I'm meeting this afternoon with an Asian American that's doing a lot of business in our area regarding the EB5 program. So I appreciate your insight there.
Yeah, I think we have to make sure that we tell the right message, what actually is. It's not just give the money and you're able to just come to US and live here for eternity. So
yeah. Are you familiar with the Windfall Group here in Chicago?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional questions before we end the recording, and everyone could quickly introduce themselves after the end of the recording? Any other questions? Okay, we appreciate all our presenters, Alejandro, Ahmed, Dimitro, everyone who participated. We are always open to new suggestions. Feel free to contact us at any point. And this recording will be available on the CGBN site as well as the NAR site. And we will have the slides and the chat available to us. So always happy to help anyone in any way we can. Just reach out to myself, Ahmed, Dimitro, or anyone on the CGBN committee. So we are going to the end of the session. You can stay on and quickly introduce yourself if you'd like in the remaining minutes.